Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and I've been spending the week with the all-new 2025 Infiniti QX80. Completely redesigned for this year, we're getting a 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine in place of the outgoing 5.6-liter V8. We're getting a good amount of updated luxury features, and in this one in front of us, we're getting a $110,000 price. This is the top-level autograph trim. It's still a body-on-frame SUV. It's still got very impressive towing and off-roading capability, but compared to crossover-style luxury vehicles, this thing is still lacking. So we're going to go through the cons, we're going to go through the pros, I'll give you my final thoughts at the end, and we'll rank it on the Daily Motor leaderboard. First things first, we're getting into the vehicle for a lack of practical storage and, quite frankly, poorly thought out interior decision making. So first things first, you're getting in, everything looks nice, really nice use of materials aside from some of this plastic piano black that's going to look bad in 2.5 years. Overall, things are pretty good in here. And then we get inside, and you're going to want to take advantage of the wireless Apple CarPlay and or Android Auto, depending on which device you have. So you're going to pop open this piece of material right here, set your phone on the wireless device charger, and then within about 10 minutes, you're going to get a notification on your phone telling you that your device is overheating and you should take it off the wireless device charger to cool it down. That's because this is a terrible design for a device that's got to do wireless projection and also charge itself. There's no sort of cooling in here, no sort of fan like we're seeing on a lot of newer luxury vehicles. And even more so, if you close this in, there's absolutely no airflow. So if you've got a case on your phone and you're trying to run phone projection and wireless charge it, it's not going to work very well. So then you say, okay, well, I can't have my phone in here wireless charging, so I'll have it out here. Maybe I'll run a cable in order to keep it charged up. But all right, well, now we're taking up one cup holder with my phone, one cup holder with my drink. Heaven forbid my wife in the passenger seat has to put any sort of phone, drink, snack, book, sunglasses, anywhere here, because this is a very limited center console, although I will admit it goes quite deep. Now this is technically a cool box, so you can turn this on and cool drinks in here. But maybe if you didn't option this, you'd have a little bit larger center console area. Either way, you've got that storage for things, but nothing back here, because this is taken up by this big screen used for the climate control. You do have limited storage down here, not large enough for a purse or anything, but I suppose you could put a book, maybe some sunglasses down there. And then the driver pockets are very limited. You've got essentially room. This water bottle could sit down in here so that I could have my milkshake there in the center. But then again, very limited space right there. So for a family hauler style vehicle, you're pretty limited on where you can put things. And it goes along with this theme that I've picked up on for so long, and with so many Nissan vehicles that I drive. It doesn't feel intuitive. It doesn't feel like this vehicle is used by real people in the real world and have some of these things thought about. Now in the rear, we're looking a little better. You've got center console right there. You've got storage down below. You've got cup holders. But still nothing pulling out from here. So a lot of dead space where you get into a lot of competitive sort of vehicles, and they've got so much more room in here in order to put things. Next, we got to focus on the infotainment system. We've got some big screens here in front of us. This one here focusing on either climate control or vehicle drive modes. And then these two in front of us doing gauge cluster and infotainment. This is an Android Automotive based system, which usually I'm a pretty big fan of, and overall this one does work well. It means we have Google Assistant built in, real Google Maps that work very, very well, so excellent for navigating. I mean, that looks really, really good. However, you can see fairly unsightly cutouts here between sort of the Nissan backed system and kind of designed and customized, and then the Google system from within it. We see that as well if we open up phone projection, which seems to have not auto-connected. We're going to have to go here. Nope, we got to go here. Connections. Touch to connect to Android Auto. I don't know why this didn't just pop up automatically. And there we go. And again, you can see those hard bezels not looking great on the left side of the screen there. And then we get into another glitch I had this week where my iPhone simply won't connect wirelessly. So I'm going to try doing this again because right now it doesn't seem to be working. I'm going to pull out our trusty iPhone. I did pair up the iPhone earlier this week. I had to use a cable. So let's try clicking on it right here. Touch to connect for CarPlay wireless. Oh, okay, so now it's trying to add a new device rather than just simply connecting to my iPhone wirelessly. All right, so let's unpair it, delete. Wait, can we turn this to active? No. All right, we're going to delete, and now we're going to go to pair them up. So I'm going to go add device, my QX80, pairing request, pair, allow contacts and favorites sync. And now we are paired via Bluetooth. But again, Apple CarPlay not working. So I can go into here. Yeah, doesn't even give me an option for Apple CarPlay. I go home. Nothing, just grayed out. So let's connect it via cable. And for that, you're going to have a Type-C adapter. $110,000 luxury vehicle here. All right. I'm going to, yes, use CarPlay. And on the phone, I'm going to get a notification that's going to pop up and say something or other. Okay, all right, cool. There we go. We got CarPlay working, cable running through the vehicle. Oh, did it stop? Just kidding. It does seem to have stopped again. Is my cable going bad? What's up here? All right, we're definitely plugged in. I got the charging icon. Okay, CarPlay coming up again. So it's working. Fine and dandy. Now, we should be able to unplug the device and have Apple CarPlay continue to work because, again, it's supposed to be connected wirelessly. Touch to connect Apple CarPlay. Nothing. So, I mean, I guess I'll give a little bit of benefit of the doubt that maybe there's something with iOS 18 causing some sort of conflict here, but I've been able to connect wirelessly to a few of our past vehicles after this phone's been updated to iOS 18, so seems to be another issue with the QX80. And then another bug I experienced this week. Watch this. So we've got this 24 speaker Klipsch sound system, which we do have a dedicated review on below if you want to see more on that. But let me put in one of my copyright-free music tracks and get it going here. Now it's not doing it. Okay, that's a good thing. Earlier this week, and I don't know what's changed, earlier it was turning the surround sound on when I would go into the sound settings, even though it wasn't on before, and it wasn't actually toggling it on, it was just changing. You could hear, I'll drop a clip in below, because I know I have an example of it during the sound test. All right, so watch this. I'm gonna go back to the media screen, and we're listening along, and I'm gonna press sound and watch. You hear that? It just shifted over to DJX 3D Surround, and if I click this, toggle it on, and then back off, it's back to normal. Strange issue there. Then, next, here's another issue. So, it's got this feature where if you've got a phone call coming in, it can use these headrest speakers so that you can answer the call and take it personally right here from the driver's seat without interrupting your passengers. And it's definitely a cool concept in theory. I've seen it used before in other applications, and it works really well. But here's the problem. You can't adjust the audio volume once you've taken the call. So I'll show you right now. So you're driving along, you're jamming out, and then you receive a phone call. First of all, I gotta see, it's not even a phone connected right now. So let's pair back up our Android phone. All right, so we're listening to music, jamming along, and then I get a phone call. Oh, cool, Trap Phone's calling. Let's see what's up. Hey, man, how's it going? I'm kind of having some trouble hearing you. Let me turn this down. Oh, that's just adjusting the phone call. My music is stuck. Wait, how can I turn my music down? Ah, shoot, 1 sec. Ah. Oh, pressing the power button doesn't do anything. Shoot. Oh, my media screen is gone. Oh, so I can't even get... Oh, the good thing it's on the phone screen right there because the media screen right here is, the button is missing. So, we can cancel this phone call now. There's so much about the car and the tech and the infotainment that doesn't feel like a polished product whatsoever, much less for a six-figure price. I mean, come on. And I've actually had the advantage of scheduling quite a few of these sort of luxury to near luxury sort of vehicles over the last month or so. And I can tell you that this one is many steps behind. And let's get into that a little bit more here for our third con. Luxury features at $110,000. So what do we have? Oh, sorry, the car's turning itself off there. I think we should be okay. So we've got, let's go to our seat controls. We have a massage function, that's good, and this one even has massage in the second row. It's pretty much just a massage that pushes in and out. It's not one of those individual nice air pocket massages like you get in some of the competitors. We've got four-way lumbar adjustment, we've got side bolster adjustment, but I have not found a way to do thigh support adjustment. I don't believe it exists. Next, $110,000, no soft closed doors. I was just in an $80,000 Genesis that had soft closed doors. Next, let's take a look at this key, shall we? $110,000 vehicle, and you're given a lightweight plastic key, as opposed to, oh, I don't know, the $70,000 Acura that I had a few weeks ago that had one of the best feeling keys that I've used this year. But instead of Infiniti putting money into the things that you'd have to use every single day, like your key, they put money into features such as an infrared sensor here in the back seats that would monitor the skin temperature of passengers sitting back here and automatically cool them down when the vehicle's running. Not if they were left in here or something like that, like if you left a baby in the car seat. No, if you're driving along and these passengers feel too warm, the car will preemptively cool them down. That's what they focused on. And while we're back here, let me show you one thing. We do have heated third row seats. However, Infiniti used a high and low switch that can stay on in one position or another, which means if you have children back here and they turn on or off their heated seat, you know what? I won't even single out just children. Even adults who have their heated seat going, cold day, and then they get out of the vehicle and forget to turn their heated seat off, then you're driving around for the next 5 days when you don't have passengers back there, or 5 months, with your heated seat using up energy and electricity back there. Just poorly thought out decisions here from Infiniti. Okay, for the next con, we got to get this thing on the road, which little mini con is not a very luxurious shifter right here. I don't need some big sort of column shifter or anything like that, but if you're going to use buttons, make them nice buttons. Make them crystal or at least glass or some sort of nice metal. Why do I just have this piano black plastic that's going to look terrible in 3 years for my shifters? But anyway, this con, I understand, is a bit inherent to the fact that this is a large body-on-frame SUV, but I still think it's important for somebody to know if they're cross-shopping this vehicle compared to something like more of a conventional crossover vehicle, maybe something like a BMW X7 or a Mercedes-Benz GLS. It's a heavy, cumbersome vehicle to drive around. The steering, especially at lower speeds, is heavy, and there's a wallowing and a jerkiness to driving a large vehicle. Now, if you're using this for towing or hardcore off-roading, then by all means, I mean, you're gonna have to put up with that. And it's still gonna feel similar to something like a Chevy Suburban or a Tahoe or an Escalade. I guess Escalade would be the only real core competitor to this, maybe a Yukon Denali. But compared to slightly smaller unibody crossovers, this is cumbersome to drive around on a daily basis. I want you all to be aware of that as an inherent downside to the QX80. Not even old versus new, but just the QX80 in general. And then the next con comes not even from the powertrain in general. I actually don't really get all that up in arms with the fact that we've moved to a 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 as opposed to the outgoing V8. What the frustrating thing to me has been the sounds that Infiniti chose to use for this motor, because back with the V8 you obviously had cool V8 engine noise that sounded good when you got on it, and that was a satisfying aspect of that vehicle and kind of made it stand apart. But now, if Infiniti had just gone with the normal, natural sound of this V8 or this V6 engine, I'd be like, okay, I mean, it is what it is. It sounds fine. But they've used the same fake engine noise that they use for their small cars. So things like the Nissan Z is essentially having the same sound as this. So listen when we get a chance to get on it here. You hear that little vacuum soundy kind of high-pitched whiny noise? That's the engine sound that they've chosen to go with in this. And it's not even just in sport mode. We're in standard right now. That just doesn't sound good. Is it louder in sport mode? Let's see. Oh yeah. Even a lot of the other manufacturers that have chosen to go with twin turbo V6s have piped in sort of a fake noise that makes the large vehicle like this still kind of sound gruff and rumbly and tough. That's not the sort of sound you want to hear in your big body on frame SUV. Okay, I know I've been harping on the car a lot, but if you're still watching, there are things Infiniti did well with the new QX80. And let me point out, I should have pointed this out at the beginning, but I am a previous Infiniti owner. I owned an Infiniti M35X years ago. I really loved that car. And I liked the outgoing QX80. In fact, I've even considered buying one because I think it's a great secondhand car to pick up and purchase and own for a long time. So if anything, I'm just even more frustrated with the little things that make this car unenjoyable to use on a daily basis. But it does do some things well, and one of those is the camera system. It's a twofold answer because one, you have what's fairly standard these days, a 360-degree camera, but look at this resolution here. Very good resolution for driving around. You can go to different camera angles, see the curb, you can see up in front of you here. You can kind of do this under car setup, I think, right? Well, it's going to show you at least, there you go, yeah. It's going to show you sort of what's under your car as you've passed by it and then where your tires are going. So that's nice to have whether you're off-roading or simply driving around parking lots in your QX80. This is definitely a good feature to have. And not only is it a good feature, but it's executed well. It's quick and it's high resolution. But then on top of that, even better, something I'm really glad Infiniti did do, they have a dash cam built in, externally and internally. So if you go over here, you can go to dash cam. And then it's got the front dash cam, it's got other angles, the rear up there. You can take a photo, you can record an event, you can go to the inside camera so you can see me recording right there. In fact, I should just shoot the video like this. Do we have rear as well? Doesn't look like it, okay. But you can have it auto record, it can have parking record, so it's something that Tesla's been doing for so long, and I've always wondered why it's taken so long for other manufacturers to get that into their cars. Infiniti does seem to have done it and done it well. Also, talking about interior layout, the touchscreen is so far away. I am an average-sized 5'10" human being, and if I'm sitting here comfortably back against the seat rest, I've got about, what is that, about 8 inches or so, 6 to 8 inches before I can even touch the screen. So I'm coming way far up in order to touch elements here. Even for things like the volume knob and the climate controls, I'm having to lean off of my seat, which has taken me away from the road, taken me away from my comfort situation. Now, I can only imagine if you're a smaller armed individual, it's going to be really difficult to operate that system. Now, Infiniti does have the ability to control the system using the steering wheel. It's not the best physical control system I've ever utilized for a touchscreen infotainment, but I do admit that once you get used to it, you can control the center screen without taking your hands off of the wheel. So it's better than nothing. But like, why isn't it going to the left right now? I want Android Auto. Go. Stop. Oh, do I have to do that? And then scroll? Okay. All right, so once you get to use it, this can work decently well. I like how they integrated that. But the screen is just so far away, I can see a lot of people being frustrated. Again, just by that general layout consideration. Next pro is I do appreciate having Android Automotive. I know that this isn't the best infotainment system holistically, and we've had those glitches we talked about earlier, but when you're just using the core Android Automotive based functionality, it is a competent system. I mean, watch things like this. We can press this, navigate to the nearest Starbucks.
Starbucks, all right.
Look at that. I mean, that's the built-in infotainment here. That's not my phone doing the work. How quick and easy was that, as opposed to so many other car built-in navigation systems that you got to go through different lines and say yes or no, and she doesn't quite understand. You can actually use real places. What's another thing you can do? What's the weather like for Tuesday next week?
Next Tuesday in Irvine, it'll be partly cloudy, with a high of 85 and a low of 64.
I mean, not only did that give me the exact information I wanted, but it happened just like that. It was immediate. That's really impressive. I do appreciate that Infiniti has used this infotainment system. The next pro brings us back to the powertrain. But like I kind of said before, aside from the noise, this engine actually does work pretty well for this vehicle. I'm not one of those hardcore, oh, you should have had the V8. I mean, yeah, I like a good naturally aspirated V8, but I also understand the restrictions that a lot of manufacturers are against now, and this twin-turbo V6 has actually proven itself with benefits here in the real world. In our highway fuel economy testing, I'll just spoil the test for you. We got 18 miles per gallon in the outgoing model. We got 21 with this. I mean, that's a 10% increase roughly, actually more than 10%. It's a 10% increase just from its EPA rating of 19. And you're going to see even more benefits just driving around town. I mean, in my sort of mixed, not very scientific driving around mixed use, I'm getting about 16, 17, which for a vehicle of this size and this capability, that's pretty good. And not only that, but the engine's quiet, cruising at speed. It revs very low on the highway. So that is a pro to this size of vehicle to at least be squeezing out over 20 miles per gallon on the highway at 70 miles per hour. And on top of that, we get into my next pro. This is a very quiet vehicle at highway speeds. It's engineered to be serene, and you're supposed to be able to fill it up with people and pull something behind you and still not have it screaming out, not have it be loud. It's decently refined and comfortable when cruising on the highway. Next pro, something that the QX80 has going for it, especially compared to the unibody crossover competition, is both its towing capability and its off-roading capability. This, if I have my facts straight, is loosely based on the Nissan Patrol still, and that is a very capable off-road vehicle. And despite this one having extra large wheels and ground effects that are going to limit your off-road capabilities, if you get maybe a more modestly spec'd QX80, this is going to be plenty good off-road. I mean, we even have a dedicated 4-high mode here with an off-road drive. Oh, actually, we don't have an off-road drive mode. Maybe we would on some of the other models. Maybe it's an option. But either way, I didn't get a chance to do off-road driving with this car, partially because I didn't want to be responsible for damaging Infiniti's $110,000 car doing off-road testing. However, I fully believe that if you are an owner and you want to choose to do that, this is going to do better than a lot of the competition. And then on top of that, the towing capabilities. This has over an 8,000-pound tow rating. So if you genuinely find yourself towing a big camper or a trailer of some sort, wouldn't go as far as to say horses really regularly. I mean, you're going to have to start getting into kind of heavy-duty trucks for that. But you can do quite a lot of towing with this vehicle, and maybe it's not even necessarily the fact that you're going to be getting all the way up to that high tow rating, but what it does mean is you're going to be able to tow safely and confidently when you're around more of that 4,000 or 5,000 pound weight of a trailer, and you can still load it up with passengers and gear and not be getting over your GVCR and your GVWR. Wrapping up my thoughts here on the QX80. This one is a difficult one for me because I don't like being negative. I don't like coming in here. I find no pleasure in coming in here and talking poorly about some product that hundreds of people and a whole institution of people have put their hard time and effort and jobs and money and careers into building and designing and creating and tweaking and then now promoting and trying to sell. All of these people who have worked hard on this vehicle, I feel for them. I don't like coming in here and telling you all that this vehicle isn't worth buying. But when I look at the competition and when I get in and out of vehicles day in and day out, week in and week out, and when I have the experience that I do in all of these, and in the previous QX80, and then the Lexus LX, and in the BMW X7, and the Cadillac Escalade, and the Lincoln Navigator, I just can't recommend this car. Yes, if you are just the right sort of owner and shopper, and have the right use case, you might find that this is the best car for you out there on the market. And I bet you leases are going to get real competitive really quick if they're not already. But especially with all this new technology in this 2025 model, I do not trust it to be reliable for the first model year. In fact, I don't even recommend buying cars that I do recommend in the first model year. I give them a year or two to iron out some of the bugs, but we're dealing with a new powertrain, new transmission, a lot of new technology inside of here. There's a good chance you're going to be spending a good amount of time at the dealership if you buy one of these. So it's really a shame, because I am seriously considering buying an outgoing, like a 2021 QX80 as my personal vehicle. But this is a big departure from that car. And there are very few people who I think would be properly suited in this vehicle as compared to many, many competitors. And the truth is, I'm not alone in that sentiment. If you read through a lot of the first drive reviews, the first impressions, the reviews that are out here for this new QX80, they're surface level. They are reading a lot of the spec sheet. They're pointing out a lot of the new features, but they're tiptoeing, because they know it's a brand new model. They want to be kind, and they want to kind of go into it with an open mind. But then you kind of see where it's ranked. You realize, oh, even though this is a brand new model, Car and Driver has it ranked 8th in its class, and it's still well behind the Escalade and the Navigator and the Yukon. There must be something in there. And there is. It's the fact that this isn't offering the ownership and driving experience and the feature set that it should be at $110,000. Oh, look at this. Height control suspended. Please wait for the system to cool. I'm sure that's going to work well for the next 5 years. But before we wrap up, we got to put the QX80 on the Daily Motor leaderboard. It is not immune. Current leaders on the Daily Motor leaderboard: Kia EV9, Hyundai Ioniq 6, Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Do we have any competitors on here to the QX80? Let's see. We've got the X5, which is fairly similar to an X7. That's in 8th place right now. We've got the CX90 is a little bit smaller. MDX. We did the G. Look at this. Maybe I just really don't like full-size SUVs, because I have the GLS class and the full-size Range Rover in the 2 last place positions on the Daily Motor leaderboard. What car would I like in this class? You know what? And I'm going to acknowledge a little bit of my bias here, that I don't think I like full-size crossovers. I'm just going to say it right now. But the full-size crossover game is weird, and it's where a lot of manufacturers... That's an interesting sound. It's where a lot of manufacturers are putting a ton of their tech and money, but just not doing it in a very well thought out manner. So, for me, this is where it's going. Right here. Right above the Land Rover Range Rover, in 32nd place behind the GLS 450. And overall, I like the GLS 450 better than this car. Obviously, I ranked it higher. My biggest complaint with the GLS 450 was, again, issues, and I had the car throw a check engine light on me while I had it. So, I don't know, man. I apologize to any of you who are fans of this car. I apologize to Infiniti. If they don't want to give me another car for a while, I'm willing to go out on that limb, because this just isn't it. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the QX80, check the link below. Yeah, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.